everybody, and welcome to the championship week edition of the Cover 4 podcast. I'm Jim Trickett, and my partner out in Provo, Utah, the president CEO of RDG Communications, Randy Gibson, on board with us today as we have got a whole lot to talk about, Randy, and it starts where you went to school as they lose offensive coordinator Jeff Lebby, and he is ringing a cowbell. He is now in Stark Vegas, the head coach of the Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Oh man, I tell you, Jim, I'm a big Jeff Lebby fan. I know there
Yes.
were a lot of fans, that were kind of disgruntled at different points in the season because of play calling, but we've talked about that a lot over the course of the season. Huge Jeff Lebby fan. Hate to see him go, but I am so happy for him. This is a huge step up. He's got some big shoes to fill down there, and Mike Leach, another former offensive coordinator from Oklahoma.
Yep, that's true.
And so
and,
he's going to have to. He's going to be there, following the footsteps of the Pirates. So very, very thrilled for Jeff Lebby and this new opportunity for him. And honestly, whenever we get to meet up with them down the road in the SEC, it will be a good matchup. That's for sure.
Now, Lebby kind of is a disciple of Leach, with the air raid offense.
In a roundabout way, he is. He is. His Lebby's offense wasn't quite the air raid, but it's close.
Mhm.
And I think he will do very well there. But I have to tell you, as a Sooner fan, a Sooner alumni, as part of a Sooner Spirit Squad, thrilled absolutely to death with who they picked to take his place. Going to take a couple of them, I guess, to fill his shoes.
Yeah,
Seth Luttrell,
mm-hmm.
he's going to be the offensive coordinator and the quarterback coach. Of course, Seth played on the 2000 national championship team. Very excited there. And then another beloved coach that was already on staff, loved by the players, loved by the staff, and that's Joe John Finley. He'll be co-offensive coordinator and the tight ends coach as well.
And go back a ways too with Seth. Papa, Jim Luttrell, was the leader of that wishbone offense. He was the fullback behind a guy by the name of Jack Mildren back in the day.
That's right.
So it's kind of twofold for Seth. He gets to be the offensive coordinator, come back home. He was former head coach at North Texas, the Mean Green. And who was his a guy that coached there at North Texas that I have ties with? Kenny Evans.
Kenny Evans also. And they he kind of worked him and Finley, they kind of had ties to Lebby before they got to Oklahoma as well.
That's right.
So people who I'm thrilled. I call them the couch coaches. There were some that were kind of like, well, why was Luttrell? But he was already on the OU staff. He's already been in the recruiting process. He already was close to the upcoming quarterback, freshman Jackson Arnold, who is in line to replace Dylan Gabriel. It's a home run hire as far as I'm concerned. And I think Brent was smart to do, him and John Finley both and make them co-coordinators.
Well, I'm hearing something, heard something a little while ago online on one of the other podcasts around. Not so fast, my friend, as far as Jackson Arnold. He may not be staying at OU. He could be going with Lebby.
Well, that was a concern, but I will tell you, according to his father, as of late last night, that would not be the case.
We'll find
He
out.
his father said that Jackson was committed to OU. He signed up to come to OU. He's staying with OU, and that was their feeling in the family, and that was from his dad
Mhm.
as of last night.
Well, one of the podcasters in the Oklahoma City area was saying, uh, watch, he may wind up going to Starkville with Levy than staying at OU. And if that's the case, if he stays at OU, Dylan Gabriel could possibly head to Starkville because here's the thing: Will Rogers is already in the portal,
Really,
quarterback at Mississippi State.
Mississippi
Here's
State.
a rule that people don't realize, that the NCAA, and I didn't know this till I saw it early in the week, anybody on that Mississippi State team could go in the portal for 30 days after their coach has been fired.
Mm-hmm. That's
So
right.
Rogers has already put himself in the portal.
One of the things that we're hearing, I had not heard that one. Now, there was talk, of course, because of that crazy COVID year and injury and redshirt,
Mhm.
Gabriel still got another year. He could
That's what I'm
play.
saying. Yeah.
Um, According to his mom, hmm, this was it. This was going to be his last year. But
Mhm.
we will see. There was originally talk of would he stay at Oklahoma another year? I don't really see that happening. The only thing that disappointed me in Gabriel was he did not get the national attention that I felt like he should have gotten. As far as his statistics, his rushes, his TDs, his passing yards, he was in the top four. But yet he was never, except for a very short time after the Texas game, he was never mentioned in the Heisman race. He just never really got the attention that I felt like he deserved.
Uh,
But if Gabriel stays at OU, I don't see, or I mean, if Arnold stays at OU, I don't see Gabriel coming back another year. And if Gabriel comes back another year, then that's when Arnold may have to say, hold on, do I really want to stay? But as of right now, at this recording, Gabriel's stepping away and going on, and Arnold's staying.
yeah. And it was a big win Saturday. They put 69 points on the board against TCU, but that game was a track meet from the word go.
It sure was. Sure was. Another one that kind of got left out of the national awards, Billy Bowman. He
Mhm.
had another pick six and turned the momentum of the game. They could have had, after that one, Oklahoma, it was a little disappointing that they didn't provide the knockout punch,
Mhm.
but they didn't do that. And TCU kind of got within two scores again, but it was a track meet. It was a good game.
Yep. And well, that was one OC bomb that dropped. The other one just did here an
Yeah,
hour ago in Fayetteville, where I'm heading to after we get done with this thing, because I'm working the basketball game tonight in Fayetteville for ESPN. And this was a shocker. I mean,
hmm,
I thought this bridge had been burned to a crisp.
me too.
And Bobby Petrino is returning to the hill and is going to become the offensive coordinator of the Razorbacks. They announced it at 11:54 this morning. And this is from Matt Jones from Hog Sports Network, that Petrino, uh, who got fired for misconduct in 2012 by former athletic director Jeff Long, who got fired himself and then subsequently got canned at KU.
Hmm.
He went up to Kansas, uh, has been named as the Razorbacks' new offensive coordinator. Uh, he signed a 27-month contract with the Razorbacks. will pay him 1.5 million for the first season, and then will increase to 1.6 in the 25 season. He will also get 350,000 for the first 3 months on the job. Then his annual salary will kick in March. So
that was, like you said, that was a huge shocker across the nation.
mhm,
Never thought I would see that name in line with Arkansas Razorback football ever again.
me neither.
Um, and to my knowledge, as far as I know, and you probably know better than this, but have you ever heard of a former head coach coming back to be a coordinator at a school before?
No, not to
I
my
haven't either.
knowledge. And this is one that, I'll meet tonight. I get over to Bud Walton probably about, well, first of all, I got to get there, get my credential and parking pass. And I get there like 3 hours prior to the ball game because uh, you got to be parked 2 hours prior to the ball game.
Hmm.
And they're putting us somewhere different tonight than we've ever been. Usually we park in lot 56, which is corner of Razorback Road and Old Highway 62. Well, tonight they're parking us uh, behind the police station, which is across from John McDonald Track. And John McDonald Track is northwest of Bud Walton Arena. So a little different walk for me going to
Yeah.
the game and uh, heading back tonight. But Chuck Barrett, I have gotten to know quite well. He is the voice of the Razorbacks. I'm going to talk with him uh, prior to the ball game. Him and Matt Zimmerman, who's his color commentator, uh, used to be a assistant coach there at Arkansas, who does color for the Razorback Sports Network. Just kind of feel out, say, okay, what's going on here? Has anybody who's been a head coach come back to a school and now is going to be the OC? I know the fans. He'll probably get introduced tonight uh, at the game if he's in town, and I'm pretty sure Petrino's there. Uh, the Razorback fans are going to go crazy tonight.
Hmm.
Most of them. There are going to be some that are not going to be too thrilled seeing him back in Fayetteville after what happened in 2012. But uh, Sam and Hunter have made the decision. I think there was several guys that was in the mix. I heard Seth's name thrown around. The guy who
Hmm.
was the offense coordinator out at UNLV, coaches for
Yep, I heard that
Mariota.
one.
Uh,
Yep.
Now, here's the thing: Barry and Sam are very close. You have to realize Petrino took the job as offense coordinator at UNLV and only stayed out there 2 weeks before he took the job with Jimbo down at A&M.
Yeah,
So uh, Sam had to have talked to Barry first and
I'm
found
sure.
out what in the world happened, why Bobby leaves Springfield, Missouri. He was head coach at Missouri State,
Hmm.
and he left there, went to UNLV, and then 2 weeks later winds up in College Station.
Yeah.
And then Elko doesn't retain him, uh, the new head coach at A&M, and so he's looking for a job. And this thing pops up. But Sam said after the ball game Friday that he was going to have a OC hired by this Friday, and sure enough, he did, and it came off. Like I say, 11:54 this morning is when the sports information office there in Fayetteville made the announcement.
I didn't even hear this rumor until early this morning when I got up, about
Oh,
six
it was
o'clock Central Time. And that's
He
when
was
I
running.
started hearing the rumor, and I was like, "Oh, this can't be right. Somebody's dreaming here." I was totally shocked.
They were flying this out last night.
Were
I
they?
mean, I was seeing it last night about 7:30 last night here, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And sure enough, bingo. I mean, 12 hours later, uh, Petrino is now the offense coordinator. Hey, you got to give the guy credit. He is an offensive mind.
Yes, he is.
He coached Ryan Mallett, who unfortunately passed away uh, this
Hmm.
summer in uh, I think it was a swimming accident. He was down on the coast and drowned. Uh, and he put on Facebook. Well, it wasn't Facebook; it was on Twitter, X now. That had a picture of him and Mallet, and he told 15, "I'm coming home, and I'm planning on bringing a championship to Fayetteville." So
Yeah.
uh, the thing is with Petrino, I think he'll see what they did this last year, and then look at what Kendall Briles was doing. Uh,
Hmm.
the space, I talked about it earlier in podcast when they got rid of Enos. Was the splits too tight in the line? Will you open it up a little more? And the running back room is good. You got Green, you got DeBinion, and you got this young kid named Augustus, who I've
Hmm.
seen the last two ball games. And Randy's true freshman, and he is pretty good. And he'll haul the mail. He had 80 in that route that Mizzou did to him Friday. And I didn't see it inside the stadium. I was in the production truck for CBS doing specialty stats for him.
Hmm.
And this kid, he bounced outside on that last touchdown run, and he made it with ease into the end zone for the well, proved to be the final touchdown of the ball game. But the running back room is good. They've got help coming. KJ, those people rampant this morning saying that he was going to enter the portal, and KJ came straight out and said, "Hey, I haven't made a decision yet. Could there be that KJ Jefferson stays at Arkansas for one more
Maybe
time?"
with
And
new with new coaches,
mm-hmm,
he may want to give a chance to see if he can have a better year. I think it would be
yes,
good for him if he did. I would like to see
me
him
too.
stay.
I think they've got till Friday to the portal opens Friday, so
Hmm.
I have a feeling that KJ and Chriswell both will be in that quarterback room with these kids that are signing here in a couple of weeks. Because the early signing period starts up uh, right around the Christmas break.
Hmm.
So I think the quarterback room will be good. I think the receivers will be good. I know they're losing Pooh Paul. He's already said he's going in the portal, but then again, you know, it's not official till Friday.
Right.
He might see, after what happened, they bring Petrino in on the offensive side of the ball. He might decide to say, "Oh, wait a minute, hold it. Let's think about it." I don't know. We'll find out how many guys possibly jump ship. I don't think there'll be that many, to be honest with you.
I hope not. I
Yeah.
hope not. I would like to see what Arkansas could do with this new staff that they're getting over there, and it's going to
Mm-hmm.
be a good, fun year for Arkansas. I think they've got some good
Yeah.
games coming.
They got some really good games at home. I
Hmm.
mean, you got LSU at home, you got Ole Miss at home, you add Tennessee in there to replace Alabama, and Texas comes back to Fayetteville. I'm looking forward to that.
I am really looking forward to that game. There's a couple of Texas games besides this Red River game that
Hmm.
I'm looking forward to, and one of them is Texas and Arkansas, and the other one is Texas and Texas A&M.
And they just announced that's going to be the traditional Thanksgiving
Mm,
week.
I was so
Bonfire,
thrilled.
bonfire goes
Yes,
back to being
yes,
bonfire next year.
yes. Very excited about that. Sounds funny coming from a Sooner fan, but I actually, a lot of times, I actually root for Texas.
Hmm.
Unless they're playing us. I unless it helps us, unless it helps the Sooners, I tend to kind of lean to go for Texas usually.
Hmm.
And Jim, I don't know if you knew this, but after I got my master's degree at OU, I was set to go to College Station and get a doctorate at A&M.
Mm, okay.
And so I kind of like the Gig 'em Aggies too. And
Hmm.
so whenever they play Texas, unless they're playing my Sooners, I kind of go for the Aggies. And so I love to watch that Texas A&M game, and I am so glad that it's back. I hope they keep it every year.
Well, they will keep it every year now because that's probably going to be one of the permanent opponents
I
uh,
hope so.
when they uh, make that schedule out next year when football. Because see, they've only got it for 24 right
Hmm.
now. They're trying to figure out if they're going to do two or three permanent opponents and rotate five or six.
Hmm.
That's the question right now.
And speaking of that, Josh Heupel's bringing his volunteers back to Norman. Uh, that's one
September
of the
21st.
that's one of the marquee games. I saw the SEC marquee list of games to watch for. Texas and Arkansas, Texas A&M, and Oklahoma, Texas were three of them. Oklahoma and Tennessee was one, and Nick Saban coming to Norman the week before the Iron Bowl. Did you see that?
Ooh,
I don't know. I would love to
oh,
be in his head and see what he thought about when he saw that he had to come to Norman and play Oklahoma the week before he has to play Auburn.
oh my God. That's gonna be uh that's gonna be something else. Let me look here. I'm pull up future schedules here. Uh because they just released the schedules for next year. Uh some of the dates. Let me go into Tennessee. All right. September 21st at Norman for Tennessee.
Tennessee, yep.
The 12th of October will be Florida at Neyland.
Hmm.
Then the next week, the traditional third week in October against Alabama in Knoxville. Oh boy. Then they go to Arkansas. I haven't put those dates yet, uh, but anyway, September 21st, mark your calendar.
Yep.
Big Orange coming to Norman, and I hope they bring the full Monty of the pride of the Southland.
I do too. That would be fantastic. And I know my good friend Brian Britt, director of the Pride of Oklahoma, would absolutely love it.
Oh, yeah, yes. And it would be, I have sent you the YouTubes of the Tennessee band,
Hmm.
one being the history of
Hmm.
the pride of the Southland, which it used to be military down there,
Hmm.
similar to like A&M.
Kind of like A&M, right?
And now it is a modern day band. Uh, I know if they play in 25 in Knoxville, you would probably love to go to Knoxville and
I would love to
watch
go to
that
Knoxville.
band march down the street heading into Neyland Stadium. That would be one of the best experiences for you being an old band member and getting to
Right.
see the bands, and I enjoy the bands too. I enjoy the band of Sight and Sound there at Arkansas. Watch them perform, and met the band director over there this year as I was walking out of the stadium, and they sounded really good this year. So uh, let's talk about the the all orange Big 12 championship game.
Oh man, I'll tell you. So Jim, I got laughed at last year. You'll remember.
Mm-hmm.
I put on my Facebook. I said, "Don't be surprised if Oklahoma and Texas are in the Big 12 championship game." I was one play away in Stillwater from having that come true.
Yep.
But it's going to wind up, like you said, being all orange, burnt and bright, or as I like to call it, Halloween orange. But I much congratulations to Texas. I think this is going to be my lock of the week. Texas will win this one big. That's my lock. I think they have got a statement that they want to make. The only blemish is from the Sooners. They are still ranked at number 7. They're still fighting to get into that playoff. I don't quite think they'll get there.
I don't either.
But I think they're going to want to give it their best shot and make a statement with it. And I don't think they're going to hold back. I think Sark is going to pour it all out on the Cowboys come Saturday down in Arlington.
Well, I'm going to be Lee Corso.
All right. Not so fast,
my friends.
Love it.
According to Oaklawn Sports, a place that your brother loved to go to down to Oaklawn Park, down at Hot Springs, which they have, you can go to Arkansas and you can bet on the ball games. America's Brightest Orange is a 14.5-point underdog.
Mm-hmm.
And the over-under is 54.5. I'll take the 14.5 in that one, mainly because of the way OSU plays second half. But I think it'll be a lot closer ball game than you think it'll be, for the sheer fact that OSU is a second half ball club, and if Texas don't watch it, they might have a dogfight in their hands.
I hope Texas doesn't pull a BYU, because BYU should have won that game last week. At halftime, according to ESPN, at halftime they had a 90% chance of winning that game, and they wound up losing it in double overtime. But there's a huge difference between Texas and BYU.
Yes.
And they're not playing in Stillwater. They're playing
at Jerry's World.
At Jerry's World. So
it's sold out.
And Texas fans, they've been waiting on this. This is what they expected when Sark came to Austin. This is what they've been waiting on right here. And this is the first taste that they've had in a while of the big show. And I think that this is the first step. Texas is going in the right direction. And I don't think Sark's going to let them down.
No, I don't think he will either. It's going to be a good ball game. 11 o'clock, ABC will televise it. If you are in your car and you've got Sirius XM, the two designated channels are XM 199 and 200. One of them will have the Longhorn Sports Network with Craig Way, Roger Wallace, and I can't think of the guy who is their sideline reporter, but his name's Will. I know that. But they'll be on one of the channels. The other channel will have OSU with Dave Hunsiker, John Holcomb, the sports director at Channel 6, and Robert Allen on the sideline. So you can listen to it there. I know that Craig and them had to have went nuts, just like 102,000 fans did in the fourth quarter. And number 16 trotted out on the field, and we're talking about Arch Manning.
Arch Manning.
And
Heck
he
yeah.
did not look bad, Randy.
No, not at all. Not at all. He looked fantastic. I was excited to see him play.
Mm-hmm. Now you see what the hype's about.
Heck
This
yeah.
kid, this kid has got some wheels. He
Hmm.
can throw the ball. He did lead them to a touchdown, which they throttled Emily Jones, who's the dugout reporter for the world champion Texas Rangers. She is a Texas Tech grad. And I hate to say it, Em, but your Red Raiders got wrecked by
Yes, they
by
did.
Texas. I mean, 57-7 at DKR.
Yeah.
And but Manning, you saw what the hype's about. He only played that ball game, so he keeps his red shirt. He's still got 4 years.
Yeah.
And I'll credit Sark and them. They did the right thing
Yes,
by
they
just
did.
letting him just kind of fit in, see what everything's all about, learn the offense. Uh, he had a net 7 yards rushing, but the one was the 10-yard bad snap. But
Hmm.
he ran for 12 and a first down. Uh, he set him up with an easy pass for the first one, uh, for the first completion. And when that took place, I mean, you saw it, Randy. I mean, the place went crazy.
Sure did. It was fun. It was fun to
Yes.
watch.
Yep. Could he possibly see action late in the ball game Saturday? Who knows?
I think so. I
Yeah.
think he could, especially if they're up. If they're up quite a bit, I think he will.
Yeah. Uh, TU, they got
Mhm.
a big win on the road, snapped the losing streak, got a late field goal in the final 5 seconds to beat East Carolina 29-27. They wound up like Tulsa, like Arkansas, 4-8 on the season, but it could have easily been 6-6. They had a couple of ball games they lost close. Uh, North Texas being one of them, Charlotte being one. If they win those two games, hey, they're going bowling and they're still practicing.
Yeah. Yeah, I was kind of disappointed they didn't quite pull that out.
Now, here's something that the SEC short 2 teams to fill their allotment for uh, bowl games.
Hmm.
Okay, there's 2 brand new 1A schools, but they're supposed to wait 3 years before they can get to a bowl game. They are going to fill those 2 spots.
Really?
Jacksonville State down in Alabama. I think this is their first year moving up from FCS or 1AA into FBS, which is 1A. They're going to fill one of the spots. The Gamecocks are going to fill a spot. And the other one is the team that's only had 1 loss all year, James Madison.
Yeah.
And know their broadcaster who I worked with 2 years ago when he was working at Missouri Western, Dave Riggert.
Hmm.
They're going to go bowling this year. And this is just their second year in 1A. So hats off to them for, they get to play in it's going to be a small or mid-level bowl game, but they get a taste of what it's like. Plus, the kids will get get some bowl swag out of it.
Heck yeah.
So
So bowling, it's going to be kind of interesting. This weekend's going to answer, I guess, our bowl situations.
yes, yeah.
Um,
After they make the final picks,
yep.
as far as the poll, the top four,
Hmm.
then everything starts going into place. We'll know the two semifinal games, uh, around noon, and then probably around 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we'll know where OU and OSU are going to go.
Hmm.
So,
It's going to be interesting. There's an outside chance, from what I'm hearing, depending upon what happens this weekend, there is an outside chance that Oklahoma still get a New Year's Six. Uh, it's going to be
they
tight.
better pray for Alabama to win, and I don't
Yeah,
see that happening.
that was one of the keys that was going to have to happen. Alabama was going to have to upset Georgia for that to
Mhm.
happen. Another one was, I think, probably highly unlikely Iowa was going to have to upset Michigan. That's not going to happen.
Oh
Uh,
no, that's
no,
that's as
but
far fetched as can be.
but I guess the predictor right now is Oklahoma's looking at Alamo Bowl versus
Mhm.
Arizona.
That's what I've been seeing. I'm looking here at Analog Sports, their bowl predictions. Uh, just as I'm scrolling here, uh, let's see. That is, well, they're putting Texas Bowl, which is NRG Stadium in Houston. They're saying Auburn and OSU.
Really,
That's one they're saying. Putting OSU in Houston
really,
against Auburn. After
that'd be interesting.
what happens Saturday night, we'll talk about that in a little
Yeah,
bit. There's some interesting matchups. Alamo Bowl saying OU and Arizona.
yep, that's what I keep hearing too.
Yeah, that's been a consensus for about a week.
Some have been really pushing wanting Oklahoma to play USC. I don't want to bother playing USC. Um,
Yeah.
Somebody said, "Oh, are you scared of Lincoln Riley?" I'm like, "No, not in the least. I just I want a better ball game than that."
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Arizona would give us a better ball game, I think, and I don't see Caleb Williams playing in the USC Bowl.
Probably not. How about this one? Alabama and Washington at Jerry's World for the Cotton Bowl.
I'd love it. That would be a fantastic game.
And I agree with everybody. I think Oregon will beat Washington on a neutral field. That's Friday night.
I do too.
They play the final Pac 12 championship game
Hmm.
at the home of the 49ers.
Yeah, I I think Oregon, all things being equal, I think Oregon's got a little bit better team than Washington, and I look for them to win.
Yeah. Heisman's going to be interesting because they got to start putting their votes in because
Yeah, they do.
they don't count the championship games.
Nope.
So Penix and Nix, they're going to split the votes out west.
Yeah, they are. They are.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Well, we get
And one more
go
thing
ahead.
before while we're talking about out west, did you hear the big news coming out of Salt Lake City?
No.
Cam Rising's coming back.
Ooh. Ooh.
And so the Utes are going to have their starting quarterback, who's been hurt this whole year,
Mm-hmm.
back. And that is going to be very interesting for all of those left in the Big 12 next year,
Yes, it
because
will.
Utah is is coming into the Big 12, and if you can get a chance to go see that kid play, you ought to be able to go. If you just like to watch football,
Hmm.
and he is one that you need to go see play. That kid is impressive.
Yes. So, yeah, you get to see him in the Holy War.
Sure do. Can't wait for it.
Is BYU home next year in that game with Utah, or they got to go down to Rice Eccles?
I don't remember. I'll have to look that up. I'm not sure.
And did they play
And
this year?
they did not play this year,
Okay.
but I do know they're going to play next year. But the Big 12 hasn't released their schedule officially yet, have they?
No, I hadn't seen anything yet either.
I know they're playing next year,
Okay.
but I don't know where the Holy
Or
War would be or
when?
when.
Okay.
I I expect it to be an every year thing.
Yes.
That's my
Okay. That
assumption.
that would be similar to what SEC will do with uh, probably set up two or three permanent uh, and then rotate.
Hmm.
Hang on a minute. I thought I saw that schedule out. Just a minute. Let me look. Yeah, future Big 12 schedules. Yeah, they've announced that. Hang on. The matrix for 24 through 27 has been released by the Big 12.
Well, that's surprising after last
They
year's
did that.
fiasco.
They did that November 1. And let's see. Locations and dates will be announced soon be soon available, but they have released the matrix of it. So right now, okay, let me turn this joker around. Okay. 24-27 matrix. I'm going to try to expand this joker so I can see it. Okay. 24. Let's look at BYU. Okay. BYU away is Arizona State, Utah, Baylor, and UCF. They will
Okay.
play at home against Arizona, Houston, OSU, KU, and K State.
Well, you can bet that I'm going to be walking down the hill when OSU comes to town.
Mm-hmm. 25. They go to Arizona, Colorado, Texas Tech, Iowa State, and Cincinnati. The home games will be Utah, TCU, West Virginia, and Central Florida. That's 25. 26, you go to Rice Eccles, TCU, KU, and UCF. Then home, you get the two Arizona teams, Baylor, Iowa State, and Cincinnati. And then 27, BYU goes to ASU, Houston, Oklahoma State, K State, West Virginia, and then go Utah, Colorado at home, Texas Tech, and KU. So
Very
there's the
good.
next 4 years for the scheduling. And I venture to say that after seeing that model, Greg Sankey might do something similar with the schedule for 25 on for the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
And but that's remains to be seen. We haven't heard anything yet from the Southeastern Conference. Well, change balls, go from a brown ball to a orange ball. Basketball started last night.
Yep.
The high schools around here. Uh, the Tahlequah Tigers, they went to Grove. They defeated the Ridge Runners. The Lady Tigers win 36-18. The boys win 52-34. They got to go up the road and go to Claremore Friday night and take on the Zebras before coming home and hosting the Tahlequah tournament next week.
Very
So,
good.
here's something that I found out Monday night. I went up to the TMAC mainly because Coweta was playing. Their junior high was playing at the TMAC. Former Sequoia player, now the head coach of the girls at Coweta, Jade Grigg Allison now.
Mm-hmm.
Her daughter, Mabry, and it doesn't seem right that Mabes is now a teenager. She's a seventh grader playing basketball for her mom and her grandpa. Larry is coaching the junior high girls.
Really?
Yes, he was coaching the seventh grade game. I went up. If you look at my Facebook page, there was a Mabry and Larry Gregg photo dump that I did. I took my good Nikon 3500 with me up to the TMAC and shot a few pictures the other night. And Larry's wife, Tommy, who has always been the bookkeeper when Larry was coaching, she was up there. Got to see her as well. And it was a good, I stayed there for about a little over a half, and then came back to the house. But we got talking about something, and this is something that I need to talk about and reach out for people that complain about officiating. We need refs badly.
Mm-hmm.
It's not only in the state of Oklahoma, but it is a nationwide epidemic right now.
Yes, it
A
is.
shortage of officials, and it reaches all the way into college basketball. And I didn't realize it until Larry talked to me, because a member of that 2002 Sequoia State Championship basketball team was none other than Tucson Grigg. Tucson, his real job, he works for Tedford Insurance in Tulsa. His side gig is he is a basketball official.
Oh.
And a good one. How good? He got to call the Elite Eight and the Division II National Championship game this past year.
Really?
He is working out of the Summit League and that officiating consortium. And he got a call from the Southland Conference commissioner, personally called him. And it probably was called from the Summit League's supervisor of officials. And he probably got the call from the Southland guy and begging Tucson to take 5 games in their league.
Really?
Yeah. And Tucson's calling like 4 nights a week. He called Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, jumped on a plane and went to a game Saturday. And then Monday night, he was in North Dakota calling a ball game.
Wow.
Had Owen Short, a guy who I see over at Arkansas. And he's an SEC official. And there's three guys from Arkansas, him, KB Burdette, and Don Daly, who I've known for over 20 years because he refereed here at Northeastern. And he's now
Interesting.
the president of the Southeastern Conference officials, basketball officials. And they're having to call games in Fayetteville. Owen had two games at Atlantis with Arkansas last week. So the officiating shortage is starting to hit not only in the high schools and the junior high level, but it's also starting to hit the college level too. And
Wow.
and you can call a ball game. And I asked Jade, I said, how much are you paying them? Like 120? She said, yeah. And that's calling a girls game and a boys game, varsity. And
Okay.
if you want to become an official, you get a hold of the OSSAA. You pay whatever the fee is now. It may be 35, 40 bucks. I don't know how much it is now. You get the rule books. You take the test. It's now electronic. Used to be on paper and then you send it in. And you also have to watch a video on concussions, no matter what sport it is. And you got to view it too, and watch the rules video that they do every year. That not only the officials have to take, but the coaches have to take. And then get with they'll tell you, probably referees call over in Oklahoma City. They have the shirts now and the pants. You can buy all your stuff from them. It may cost you 150 or 200 to get outfitted, but folks, we are hurting for officials. I would call 3-man if I wasn't so busy doing what I do with ESPN, and call a few ball games, but I just don't have the time right now. And my schedule is, I don't know from week to week, when they're going to need to holler at me to go do a ball game. So, and it's more lucrative for me to go over there and do those games or go up to Tulsa than it is for me to run up and down to court anymore. So, but we are desperately needing officials. I mean, it's really getting tough to get officials out there. So check in, like I say, go to OSSAA.com and look at it. If you are a high school student that loves basketball, or you used to be a wrestler or played football, look at it. And we're going to need baseball umpires when springtime comes around. So it's kind of a plea from me as a former official. I called for 4 years when I was at NSU working in the sports information office. Dad and I used to call, but basketball now, I wouldn't call 2-man. I'd call 3-man. It's because these kids have gotten so much faster than what they were back then. So the other schools around, Sequoia opens Friday night at Adair. And then Sequoia hosts a tournament next week at the Sequoia Center. This will be the second year they've had it. I know, talking with Jade, they're talking about, I know 2 tournaments are going to experiment with the shot clock, which we don't have in Oklahoma this year. It is in the national book that there is a state adoption that you can go and have the 35-second shot clock. And that's another thing, along with the going to 4 fouls a quarter instead of 7.5 and have the 1-and-1, and then 10 2 shots. After the fifth foul in the quarter, it goes to 2 shots. You have the option of the 35-second shot clock. Arkansas already has it. This will be the second or third year that Arkansas has had the 35-second shot clock in high school basketball. That's something that we'll see next year in Oklahoma per Jade. She told me that Monday night. But I think you'll see 5A, 6A go to the shot clock next year, and then probably 4A after that. Schools are going to have to look for not only shot clocks, but shot clock operators and people that know what they're doing. And that's something I'll probably reach out to Matt up at the high school and say, hey, if I'm not doing Arkansas and we're home, I'll come up and run it, because I've done it before at Northeastern. So
that would be very good. And again, like you said, with what's coming up down the pike, need those operators. So just
yes,
like the officials.
yes, very much so. Keys opens up Tuesday night. They're home against one of my old schools, Hilldale.
Awesome.
They'll play next Tuesday night out at Keys. Their boys coach, guy who I used to play basketball against, former Fort Gibson Tiger head coach, now coaching for the enemy, Gary Hendricks. Gary Hendricks is the head coach of the boys. He's in his second year over there. Greg Barnes, you remember him, played on that state runner-up football team. He's in his second year out at Keys as the boys coach, after being for years out at Woodall. So he's the boys coach out at Keys now, and the guy who coached junior high golf at Tahlequah, then went over to Hilldale and coached the boys team, and now he's making a short drive out to Keys. Mike Claiborne is now Barnes' assistant in basketball, and he's going to be coaching the golf team out there at Keys this coming spring. And then the other team in the area, Hulbert, they fell to the OK Mustangs last night. The boys lost 83-36. They're 1-1 on the season. The Lady Riders fell 54-33 to the Lady Mustangs. Their home opener is tomorrow night. They got the Oaks Warriors coming to Ryder Fieldhouse in Hulbert. So that will take place tomorrow night over there in Hulbert. Again, basketball, I'm heading here in just a little bit toward Fayetteville. ACC SEC Challenge. Arkansas and Duke tonight at the Basketball Palace of Mid-America, Bud Walton Arena. They're in Fayetteville. They'll be on ESPN. 7:15 out your way there, Randy. 8:15 here will be the tip. The A team is calling this one tonight. Dan Schulman and Jay Billis will be doing the call tonight from Bud Walton Arena, along with Chris Budden. She'll be the sideline reporter. And the only person missing, and he hadn't gotten the green light to start broadcasting again, Dickie V.
Okay.
Dickie V would have been in Fayetteville tonight. He was slated to start last night at Rupp Arena at Kentucky, but the doctors have not given him the all clear yet. He still had to have a little procedure done on that vocal cord cancer that he had here a while back. That's the reason why we didn't see him all last year.
I was wondering why.
Yeah,
so that's what's happened.
Yeah, that's what's happened. But as soon as he gets cleared, uh, he is chomping at the bit to get back. I'll talk to Dan and Jay and see how he is. I know he was doing. He wasn't able to talk. He was having to use the whiteboard like I do to relay messages whenever I do talent stats.
Mm-hmm.
But he is starting to talk again, but they're telling him to take it easy first. So I venture to say by first of the year that Dickie V will be back out calling some games, not all of them. This week is the kind of a coaches versus cancer thing with basketball. The V Foundation fundraiser. Dick has his fundraiser for pediatric cancer. It's $100, but it goes to a good cause, goes to the V Foundation. 100% goes to there. And here's the two things that are up on the raffle: a chance to go to Florida to his house, and you get to watch the Sweet 16 with him.
Really?
Yeah.
Now that would
And
be fun.
yeah. And you get to go to the gala in May.
Oh, really?
Down there as well. And it's a trip for two. Go
Oh, wow.
to the vfoundation.org, and they will tell you all the information about this. And he's raised millions of dollars for this, and he's like Valvano. He has not given up. With him having cancer,
Sure.
and this is going to be, like I say, take a look at it. If you want to donate and have a shot at going down there, if you're a basketball fan, that would be one heck of a trip. I'm kind of thinking, okay, I'll get paid next week for this game. Take 100 out of there and, throw a chance at possibly getting to go down there. Trip for two with that. I would say, okay, I know mom won't fly. She will not get on a plane. But basketball, a guy who has went through prostate cancer surgery.
Yeah.
Plays golf out at Cherokee Springs. Former head coach of the Redmen. Former president of the NABC, the National Association of Basketball Coaches. I might have to ask Larry Gibson.
That would be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah, take him down there as my guest. Him, me, and Vital. Think about that one for a minute. And Larry, being a coach, and Dick was a coach.
Yeah.
So, you get two basketball minds together. That would be a trip.
That would be so fun.
Yeah, it would. And tonight I'm doing official stats. So I'm doing play-by-play back to the control room, not at Bud Walton Arena. I'm going to be either talking to somebody in Charlotte or I'm talking to the mothership in Bristol. One of the two. And I've done it. I did it last year for the OU Arkansas game at BOK. And if I get Bradley again to, talk to him, if it's in Charlotte, he's the guy that said I sounded like Uncle Vern. So, but anyway, one final thing before we close this out. here on
Okay.
Wednesday. This just came out courtesy of the MIAA.
Okay.
Two
Interesting.
guys have been named as finalists for the Harlan Hill Award. That is the Division II version of the Heisman Trophy.
Okay.
And a person with ties to Northeastern State University is one of the two Region 3 nominees. Braden Gleason, the son of the late John Gleason, former assistant coach at Sequoia, was a head coach at Westville before he passed away with brain cancer several years ago. He has been named as one of the 9 finalists for the Harlan Hill, which is presented now by the Little Rock Touchdown Club and the Great American Conference. It originally started from the University of North Alabama, and one of the clubs down there in Florence, Alabama, before they moved up to 1AA, and then Little Rock Touchdown Club took it over along with the GAC. The other guy is Central Missouri quarterback Zach Zembrowski. So those two guys have a chance to claim the Harlan Hill. It'll be voted on by the Division II SIDs, and that will be released on December 15th before the championship game at McKinney ISD Stadium in McKinney, Texas.
How exciting would that be?
Yeah. And then he'll be awarded in Little Rock on January the 12th. He is the all-time MIAA holder for touchdown passes with 109 touchdown passes in his career.
Wow.
And he is the son of former Lady Red and member of the NSU Hall of Fame, Angela Pruitt.
Very
Angela
good.
Pruitt Gleason. And like I say, John passed away. It's got to be now close to 10 years ago now with brain cancer. So excited for Braden to be one of the 9 to be selected to hopefully win the Harlan Hill.
That's great.
So a lot of news that we have had in this hour plus
Oh
version of the
man.
podcast this week, and that is try to think about anything else, and I think everything's been covered. We get ready for basketball to really hit full swing next week with the high schools. Northeastern's home tomorrow night. They've got Fort Hays as they start the MIAA season. 5:30 for the women's game, 7:30 for the men on Thursday. Then Nebraska Kearney comes to town on Saturday. 1:30 tip for the women, 3:30 for the men. Go up and support the Redmen and the Lady Reds as they open up MIAA play. And the basketball season is, like I say, it's upon us now. So,
Fantastic.
yep.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. We're getting out of football and into basketball. So
Yeah, and it overlaps itself too. So
yeah. Here in a couple of weeks we'll be able to start talking bowls though too.
yeah,
So that'll be fun.
we'll talk bowls next week because
Yeah,
we'll
we
know
will.
everything about the bowl season come well, we'll probably try to do it on Tuesday. We had too much going on Monday and Tuesday of this week. That's the reason why we're doing it today. And we'll get this thing out and have everybody watch the podcast here in just a little bit. And Randy, I know you're ready for see where OU lands.
I am looking forward to Saturday. You can bet I'll have on my red, and whichever side of the fence you want to sit on, somebody's going to be cheering for somebody in orange come Saturday.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, that's going to do it for this week's edition of the Cover 4 podcast. For my partner, Randy Gibson out in Provo, Utah, I'm Jim Trickett. We'll see you next week. So long, everybody.